Hello everyone, this is Melville. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to take a look at The Drifter. So The Drifter is a Wild West adventure. It is a pre-written hex scroll adventure for solo player, and it is inspired by the absolute classic that is Barbarian Prince. And for those of you who are not aware of this game, it is a game where you are basically taking place in a hex scroll map. You will have your character. You will try to travel along this map, and during that, you will be consulting a table for different events. And normally, it is written in just like a number, and you need to go to that specific reference to see what kind of encounter that you have. So different from some of the role-playing games that I have mentioned in my previous videos, this is not a generate on the go kind of adventure. So you're not going to roll on the different terrain types and see what there is. Instead, this is pre-written. So all of these events are pre-written for you. All you need is to have the PDF or the book, which there is a print-on-demand version on Drive-thru RPG. And what you need to do is to go to the specific result. So in this case, for example, if you go to like this event, then you will basically, it will written for you. There's something you can do. You roll d6 to see the outcome and so forth. So this PDF is provided by Ken Kennedy, who is the designer of this game. And I think this is actually the better way of playing it, because if you have the book, it is about 200 pages. And for a game like this, you do have to constantly flip back and forth in terms of looking for the event. But this PDF has been nicely laid out, and you can basically click on these links to get to the event straight away. And there's also a way to go quickly back to this menu. So I'm going to use this for this game, but depending on how you like using like a digital device, you can also print it out as well and use it like a traditional format. So so how do you play this game? So this is a really simple game to play. All you need to do is to have your characters set up, and your characters are really simple, just like in Barbarian Prince. You have a really simple health system. You start with no wound, and then you basically, every time you take a hit, you go down. Sometimes you go down by 1, sometimes you go down by 2, depending on how powerful that your enemy attack or how severe you damage yourself. And you also have a finesse level, which is important for all kind of combat tests and also the physical demanding tests. So in this game, it is a straightforward d6 plus your stat system. So if you roll d6, then you plus whatever is your current finesse. Now there will be some modifiers depending on how difficult it is this task, and we'll go through that later. You also have a bounty level, because in this game you are basically playing as a drifter, an outlaw, or that is trying to gain 300 gold or $300, and then buy a ranch and retire from that lawlessness kind of lifestyle. So these, in terms of the bounty level, will impact what kind of encounters you have. The higher your bounty suit, then the more dangerous, obviously, will be your encounters. Apart from that, you also have a hunch. This is another important stat. This is another important stat for all your skill tests. So in this game, you start with a random number, so you roll a d4 and see what you get. I do recommend starting with 4 instead of rolling a random number, because this is kind of the most important stat in this game, and it will if you have rolled a 1, then it's very likely that you will have a very miserable and short adventure. You also have a karma, which is your luck roll. So you start with 2, and you can spend it to re-roll a combat die or an encounter die. Now, this is where I am going to house rule it, and as I've mentioned, this game is very inspired by Barbarian Prince, and that game in turn is also famous for being deadly and very it's very difficult to win. As because I'm more focused on the solo playing, role playing experience. I don't necessarily need to follow every single rules of this game. I think it is more enjoyable, in fact, to not follow some of the rules and do your own house rules, and so this is not going to be a tutorial. There's going to be a lot of different tutorials. I'm more focused on how I actually implement some of the house rules to make it into a more solo RPG feel that you can get from some of the other games that I covered. And you also have a money tracker, and you start with 0, and the purchases get to 300. And you also have some weapons to start with. You have pistol, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to set up this game, and I'm going to come back after that. So as you can see, we have started up our game over here. So for this game, we are starting at this location, which is 3-7, and that is a mountain terrain. I've also rolled on our starting bounty level, which is really nice. We rolled a 4, so we're starting with no bounty level, which is nice because it means that the encounter will likely be a bit more easier to handle. So from here, you're good to go anywhere we want. Now, obviously, if you have the full map set up, which you can, you'll be able to see where the town is and so forth. But I don't necessarily want to just go to the town straight away. But as you can see, there's a little bit of a cross rail, a rail line over here. So we probably will try to go over there to see what we have. So you're good to go any direction. I'm going to go to this one, which is 4-7, and that is another forest terrain. So hopefully that is a little bit easier in terms of the encounters. So what you need to do next is to just roll a D100. So we get a 27. So what you need to do then is just to look at the encounter table. So 27 with no suit is E243. So E243 is dangerous weather. If you're on a desert hex, go to E020. If you're on a marshland, grassland, or forest, go to E002. And because we are in the forest, we'll go to that one. So, a downpour. A raging thunderstorm enters the area. Roll a D10. So, in this case, we'll roll D10, which is going to be a 5. So, 5. The storm is overwhelming, and you lose your sense of direction. Roll a d6 to determine which adjacent hex you end on, and then roll another event. So we'll do just that. So 5. 5 is going to southwest. So unfortunately, it means that we are going straight back to our starting location. So so it seems the forest is having a downpour. So we can't travel there, and we have to roll another event. So another d100. So this is 28. So, E234, Spirited Horse. Your horse is feeling in top form and can cover twice as much ground. If your next action is travel action, you may move 2 hexes instead of the usual one. So it's good that we don't get into that because we can actually move 2. So what I'm going to do is move 2 directly to the ones that I want to go initially, the 5-7, and then we'll see what kind of event we're going to see. So 11. 11 is going to be E177, and that is cave. You investigate a cave, roll a d6. So we'll see what we have. A 5. +1 karma. It contains a beautiful cenote. It is oddly invigorating, and you decided to camp here for the night. You and any partners heal up to 3 wounds levels. Spirited Horse, E234. That is quite nice. I actually forgot to set up my initial karma, which is 2. Now we are up to 3. and because we've just read the spirited horse, it means that we can just go to 2 hexes. So we go straight to 7 and 7. So it's still a forest, and we'll see what we're gonna get next. So 97. So 97 is E095. So moonlit night. You set up camp in the wilderness. The night sky is illuminated by a bright moon with only the sound of crickets. Roll a d6. A 5. You dreamt you were a wolf, +1 karma, and heal 1 wound. So we're up to our maximum karma. That's good. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to this 8-8, which is a rail line, and hopefully we'll see something interesting. Again, a D100. So this is 41. So E036 is Prospector. If you're on a desert hex, go to E093. Otherwise, you come upon a lone prospector searching for gold in a small stream. Roll a D10. So it's a 1. His progress has been bootless. He ignores you and curses to himself as he leaves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend the karma and re-roll that encounter to see what we get. So 5. He's being harassed by cruel ruffians. You enter combat with the ruffians, and then so this is the first time we are going to set up a combat encounter. So in this game, the combat is relatively simple. First of all, you need to decide who's going to act first, which is going to be an initiative test. And the way this game works is that it will tell what kind of difficulty it is. So in this case, it's a diamond. It's a hunch -1, so we're going to roll on this specific column. And because I've decided that we have a hunch of 4, so it means that we will have roll a d6 plus 3, because this is -1 for our test. So let's see what we have for our initiative test. So it's a 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. And for this one, we have got the initiative. So we're going to go into the combat. So the combat is also very straightforward. You are going to set up your opponents. In this case, we have 2 ruffians. Both of them have a finesse of 2 only. They have no wound at the start. They are both using pistol, just like us. And one of it has some loot on him. So we're going to look at the combat table. So in the combat table, we're going to roll 1 d10 plus our finesse, the difference between our finesse and the opponent's finesse. So in this case, because we have 4, they're 2, so we get a +2 on our roll. So we'll see. We're going to roll on the weapon suit of diamond, because we're using a pistol. So it's going to be a 2. I think that will be a miss if I'm correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend another karma to re-roll that. So it's going to be 9. So 9 plus 2 is going to be 11. So the first opponent is been shot dead straight away, and we also get another immediate attack. So this one is gone. So we're going to go to the next one. We roll again. Oh, a 10, so straight away, bang bang. So 2 of the ruffians are shot dead straight away, and we are going to be able to roll on the loot. So the ruffians, one of it has a diamond loot on him, so we can roll on this one. And again, this is going to be a d10. 9, so 9 means go to queen. So we need to roll on the second part of the table. So this is the Q table. So this is just a D6. So a 3, which is event 009. So event 009, you find a knife. If you keep the knife added to your weapons, that's really nice. So we've got ourselves a weapon. So I'm actually going to write it down. So we're going to have. So now you can see that we have a knife over here, which will give us a weapon suit of a club, and hopefully that will be very useful. So as you can see, this game is relatively straightforward. You basically just keep on rolling and then go on to the next event and see how it goes. until you either make it to the $300 or you somehow end up dead because of whatever reasons. Now, there are also other things that will happen in these games. So sometimes you will be able to find a point of interest. So in that case, you will need to drop it down, say what is that event, and then where it is going to. So sometimes if you have like a bounty, it might tell you to roll a die to see which direction you're going to go and how far it is, and then you go there and capture another bounty and get some money. You sometimes also have other equipments, probably some trinkets that you're gonna get, and you probably need to record them here, and they will help modify the events that you're gonna have. And sometimes you also will gain partners, and these partners will be able to travel with you. And these are quite interesting because you can have 3 maximum, and then each of them will have their own stats and their own health points and so forth. Now, if you want to part with them, you probably need to roll a table to see what kind of reactions that they're going to give you. So sometimes they're not happy, sometimes they want to split your loot and so forth. So overall, this is a very interesting game. It is very much in the spirit of the Barbarian Prince, although it has been simplified, and there are quite a lot of quality of life improvements, as I mentioned in the rule books. You can basically click on a link and go directly to that passage, and that is so much easier to go through it. And also, there's no resource management in terms of making sure that your character have food to eat and place to sleep and so forth. So I would say this is a very interesting game. Now, I do want to talk about how I will personally approach a game like this, because there is a very straight outcome in most of the events. So sometimes you will basically roll on a 1, and it will tell you that you're dead straight away. Even doesn't matter what kind of reactions that you want your characters to have, you'll probably just die straight away. So in a sense, there's less player agency than most of the role-playing games that I have covered. And there's a few house rules that I personally think is going to help levitate it. So one of it is to increase the use of a karma. So to give you an example, we'll just go to another one and see what we have. So I'm going to just go down to number 9 and 8, and we're going to roll on a D100 to see what we have in that encounter. So 8. So E130, settlers. A group of settlers are building a home here. Choose between a friendly approach or robbing them. So this is where I say that the player agency is slightly limited. As you can see, you can either choose to be friendly or you can rob them. And if we just say, let's say we are friendly in this case, E147. E147, you arrive at a settlement, roll a d10. So let's say we roll a d10, let's get a 4, you visited the occurred. So this is where the game is a bit in terms of the player agency or player choices, because what you would normally expect is when you are in a settlement, you can choose where to go. You can go to the shop, or you can do X or do Y. Rather than rolling a die to determine where you go. So what I would do to change this game is that I'm going to increase the, I'm going to make the karma a little bit more useful as well. So instead of just re-rolling a combat or re-rolling an encounter, I'm going to say that you can actually spend a karma to pick or increase or decrease the encounter level that you have. So basically in this case, you can, instead of having 4, you can go to 5, or you can go to 2 and 3. And that basically gives your player a little bit more agency in terms of what they can do. And if we go back to the original encounter, you can also try to rob them, which is going to another event, E159. Again, you approach your encounter roll you with your weapon drawn. So again, you roll a D10, which gets you 2. So -1 karma, they give into your demand until yellow curses you as you ride off. And shortly after, you get jumped by disguised brigands. So again, this is this is quite an on-rail experience. You'll be written to get that encounter. So I think if you can spend a karma to increase it by 1, or instead of just re-rolling an encounter, because if you re-roll it, you get 5. But it's way better. But at the same time, you could possibly get like 1. And the 1 is they are deceased. Attempt a hunch test. If you fail that, then you fail to recognize the signs and gets too close. Your body is unable to fight off the disease. You are dead. So this is where I say that this game is a lot of dice rolling, but you don't have too much tools to mitigate the dice rollings. And I think it's quite fun to increase the usability of the karma, so that instead of just re-rolling, you can select to increase the number by 1 or 2, and that will help the experience a lot. So overall, Drifter is a very enjoyable experience. It definitely takes the classic Barbarian Prince system and add a lot of its own twist and quality of life improvements to the game. It's obviously a different theme as well, so it's a Wild West instead of the classic fantasy ones. The quality of life improvements is definitely a game changer for me in terms of enjoying the Drifter, because for a long time I have been looking at this game and actually I decided not to play it for a while because it does require a bit of work. It doesn't come with a card size format. It comes with a huge amount of character sheet, A4 size, and you basically have to have a huge table space to play it. And also, before the redesign of the rulebooks, it doesn't look very appealing, but now it looks a lot more professional and appealing to play. In terms of the character sheet, this is done by myself. I've decided to cut it into poker size, so I can basically bring it around with me, and it all fits in a little poker size box and so forth. And it includes majority of the important information, turning it into more of a board game experience, if you like. And all you need is a bit of tokens, some dice roll, and you can easily bring this game with you with your iPad or with your phone. In terms of the actual gameplay, as I've mentioned earlier, I definitely recommend doing some house rules, especially if you like solo experience with a lot of player agencies, because in this game, similar to the classic Barbarian Prince, you're not going to be able to do, the dice rolls will, majority of the case, dictate the outcome. And as we've seen, there are cases where you just roll a 1 and you will die straight away. So I think house ruling the karma system so that you can actually twist the dice of the roll, using some basic some basic board game or role playing game mechanisms, like spending a karma to increase your roll result or reduce your roll result, or spending 3 to maybe select the ones you want, is going to dramatically improve your gameplay experience, at least for me. So overall, this is a very enjoyable experience. It is not exactly Barbarian Prince reskin, I would say. I do think that Barbarian Prince is still doing something very unique, and it is basically something that is turning it into the true classic that basically why people are still playing 40 years later. So I'm going to do a next video on Barbarian Prince, and I'm going to do some comparisons with the design methodology of between Barbarian Prince and the Drifter, and I will do that next time. So I will talk to you guys later. Thank you.